Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to check together with the fresh kit from ICM. So it's made in 1/24 scale and it's a car model in popular sizing. So it's a GAZ-A in German service, and it might be handy for some diorama project or maybe as a solo build for those modelers who would like to build something different in a classic car sizing. So here you have the final shape of this kit, and if you order the kit number 24053, you will get exactly the same stuff as what you will see in this video review. As far as I know, it should be already available in Modelimax, so if you don't want to wait, you know where to order it. And as you can see here, we have quite nice box art. It shows this car in the sunflowers. Well, the road goes in between the fields. And here you can see comparison with my hand. I would say it's a typical size for such kit from ICM. And then here on the side you can see also some information about the model. So it's written here that we have 201 parts and the length of the finished model will be 160 millimeters, so it's not such a huge build even though the scale is still big. And here you can see also the marking options. It's written that it's marking option 1 and marking option 2, so I guess it might be a good idea to find some references if in case you would like to have a bit more sophisticated and realistic finish, or maybe you can experiment with something different because, well, who stops you? It's first question, and the second question, it's always interesting to try the different camouflages on such, I would say, captured cars. So now what I'm doing is cutting through the plastic tape which secures the top lid to the box inside, and then we can check together all of the parts which are supplied for this kit. Frankly speaking, I do not remember if I actually reviewed the GAZ-A, actually it's GAZ-A from ICM, but I reviewed some other kits, including the recent Fords from the same brand, so in case you are interested you can check them as well. And as you can see, the box design is standard for ICM. It means we have this flexible top cover, and then this box is actually protecting all of the parts inside. And here's what we have inside. It's filled up to the top, but still there is a bit of I would say empty space to protect the parts from the possible damage. It's a resealable plastic bag, but as you can see, everything is packed into one plastic bag. And now I just need to open it, so just give me a second. And we will take a closer look together. So, there are a lot of small sprues as well. That's why you can hear something falling out of the plastic bag. I would like to start with a clear frame because it is also packed into the separate plastic bag. And that's a good packaging because it will protect the parts from unnecessary damage. And here you can see the sprue, so if we zoom in you can see that the molding quality is really nice here. We have the lenses for the headlamps, we have also the front windscreen obviously, and also I can see some side glasses and the rear glass. I guess those ones will be used for the roof, but we will have to check how it will be actually assembled and if the masks are included here, because I am not sure about that. And if they are not, then you will have to cut everything with your own hands and tools. Then we continue also with the vinyl tires. These are rather typical for the car models, and well, I would rather prefer to have the plastic tires here because this will be easier to paint and weather, but for some modelers they prefer the vinyl parts instead. Next we continue with an instrument panel, so here you can see it. It should be a two-piece assembly as you can notice, and we have also some guiding elements, so it should help you with the proper alignment of these parts together. But the molding quality is also quite nice, and we have also the attachment points in a few places, so it will be easier to avoid unnecessary damage to the parts. Next we continue with the sprue A, and here this frame is a bit bigger, so I will just zoom out so that you can see the whole frame. And as you can see here, we have the engine parts. We have also this side fenders or maybe side steps if you prefer. More of the engine parts and gearbox parts here, and also we have the chassis bars here. So overall it looks quite nice, and I think the parts division makes sense because those parts can be also painted separately. It might be handy in case you would like to paint those parts separately. But as you remember, the kit offers or suggests the camouflage markings, but I would rather try to replicate something more civil with this car. As you can see, there are also some guiding elements inside those parts, so it should be easy to combine them together. Do not worry that there will be some vague placement. ICM kits are usually quite nice in this sense. Next, we continue with the sprue D, which is supplied in 2 pieces, as you can see, so that's why we will be checking only one here. And, well, these are the parts for the spoke rims. And, well, I know that some modders are actually replacing this stuff with the metal wire. If you will be brave enough to do this, please remember that it will take plenty of time to get the proper fitment and finish, but the final result should be worth it because obviously the metal spikes, they will be more up to scale, and well, if you are skilled enough to do this operation, it's definitely worth it. If you are not, then definitely do not try it and better work with the plastic parts, and the final result should be also looking fine for the standard build, let's put it this way. Next, we continue with the soft roof. So as you can see, or soft top if you prefer, so as you can see, it's assembled out of 2 parts and it's more or less repeating the folds of the real thing, so that's why it should be a bit easier to get everything into one solid assembly. And we also have really nice surface details here. If I flip it over, here inside we have some pin marks, but this will not be visible on the finished model, especially if you paint these parts in a dark color, then it's even less worrying that it will be noticeable on the finished vehicle. Next is the small sprue with the 1 part only. It's the radiator grille, but as you can see, it's molded as a single piece part, and that's quite important for this area, so you won't have any gaps or seams and you can get a bit more neat finish. Next, we continue with the sprue B, and here we have a slightly different front grille. So just to give you an idea, here is the comparison, and I guess you'll have to use the new part, which is on the separate frame, but it's always nice to have some spare elements for your future scratch building or some projects. And as you can see here, we have the firewall. Those are the separate bonnet panels, and as you remember, we have the engine included, so it might be a good idea to think through how to open the engine bonnet. And we have here the front mask with the headlamp cases, and those are the exhaust parts and also drivetrain parts. This is the suspension and this as well. So it's actually quite interesting that the suspension parts are molded as a single piece elements, so you don't have to join anything, you just cut it off and install it onto the main chassis. And by the way, here is the exhaust muffler, here is the second half, so you have to join 2 halves together, but there are guiding elements. As you can see, the exhaust tip is actually playing the guiding role, and it's solid here from this end, so it's a good idea to drill it a bit so that the appearance will be more up to the real thing. Next, we continue with sprue F, and I'm just looking why there are so many small parts. So even though it's a 1/24 scale, do not underestimate it, because we have plenty of tiny elements and some of them will require tweezers usage. For example, here you can see comparison with my fingertip. Those are quite small, but the steering wheel looks fine, and also here we have the bumper. This will be for the engine bay, I guess, and also we have some control elements which will go inside in the car. Next, we have the last gray plastic sprue. This one is marked as C, and here we get the big parts. Those are the body panels, as you can see. So those are the side panels here. We have the doors molded shut, obviously. We also have the seats. Those should be assembled out of several parts. Here are some other seat panels. This is the, I guess that's the floor panel. Here we have the rear, and those are the doors. So now I'm wondering why the doors are molded separately here. I guess these will be the interior parts, probably. And as you can see, we also have the, that's the seat frame. and also here we have some sections of the bumper. I guess we need to check the assembly manual in order to understand why the doors are actually molded like that. But before this, I will also show you the tiny decal sheet. So here we have all of the necessary symbols for these two marking options. But as far as I remember, those marking options were said to be just as marking 1 and marking 2, so you can try to replicate something different if you would like to. So now I'm closing the lenses because we are going to be checking the assembly manual, which is printed as the brochure. We have short history note as usual and technical specifications. The paint numbers, by the way, are given in ICM colors, so pay attention to this and maybe try their paints because they are actually quite fun to use. And here we continue with the parts map. So ICM shows which parts are unused with the red color, obviously, so that's why you will know what not to touch. And assembly process starts with the chassis. So here you will have the task of joining several bars together. Then we continue with the engine, and note that the engine assembly and the gearbox assembly are actually taking whole one page, so it kind of gives you an idea about the features here, and it might be also a good idea to add some wiring on this part, especially if you plan to expose it on the finished model. Then definitely go for it. Check some references and try to replicate it because I think it should be worth it. Next, we also have here the additional elements for this car. So this means the suspension sub-assemblies, and these ones, well, as far as you can see, it's exactly what we were discussing. It's just one piece installation on the main chassis. Next, we continue with more supports for the car body, and then we have some thin elements for the controls. And here we install the floor panel with the fenders. Another floor panel goes here in the rear section, and then you join this thing together with the subframe or chassis which was assembled before. Then we continue with an interior, so as you can see it's also a lot of parts actually going together, which is quite surprising. And next we have it installed on the floor, and here as you can see we have the option so that you can install this. So these are the separate interior doors. So we have the doors molded shut, but the interior panels can be still installed. And next we have also the cooling or the bonnet panels being installed. Manufacturer obviously does not suggest any option with the open bonnet, but it's easy to do because you have the special cut lines there, so with some references you know what to do. Here we continue also with assembling the seats in the interior, the windscreen, and also the spare wheel which will be installed on the rear section, also the rear bumper sections, the front lamps installation, the front bumper. Then we go with the roof. So as you can see, you also use the supports which will be inside. And this is quite interesting that even those small things are actually replicated out of the box. And here we install it onto the vehicle. Here you can see the first marking option, which is a classic gray colored option. So I wouldn't say this is something special for some modelers, but with some imagination you can get some interesting finish if you would like to. But then there is one more which was on the box art. This one is a bit more colorful and it's a bit more sophisticated, but it will take also a bit more time in order to mask everything. And now what I'm doing in the meantime, I'm trying to check what this plastic is actually based on, and it's written that it's a new parts included, which we've just noticed. It's the radiator grille and also some of the interior parts, but I wonder if it was released before, because on the scale mates I do not see anything even remotely related to this. And if I check just the ICM and GAZ, it looks like it's not included there. So probably it's a full new kit, which should be interesting for modelers who would like to replicate this vehicle. Obviously it is also based on the famous Ford A, but this time you get the Soviet version. And of course I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.